Hello, everybody. Here again we are. Hope you're doing okay and trying to cope as best you possibly can. Wearing your mask, washing your hands, and doing everything you're supposed to do. In putting some of these little gigs together, I try to come up with a theme, so it might be a person or maybe a thing or something like that. But yesterday, when I was trying to think about some of this stuff, I thought about marriage, and I thought we haven't talked about that a whole lot. So there's a couple of things about that I want to share with you, but they have to do with what the church's preparation with couples for marriage, and they call it the pre-Cana Day. Now we run them here at St. Thomas, and basically the day centers around four things. It centers around adjustment, it centers around communication, it centers around sexuality, and centers around marriage as a sacrament of the church. So maybe over the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, I'll share you some thoughts about all of those. But today I want to talk to you about sexuality. Now I can remember this happened about 5 years ago here. There were about 15 or maybe 20 couples that were coming for this pre-Cana Day here. We have a regular team that handles all that, and they're greeters and they do the talks and all the other business. I don't get involved with it, but I do go over in the morning and welcome them here, and I usually try to grab lunch with them maybe around lunchtime, and then I disappear. Anyhow, it was a couple of years ago, and they had just finished lunch, and they're getting ready for the afternoon session. And the person that was going to make the presentation tapped on the table and said, "All right, we're going to finish lunch up, and we're going to do the third presentation. And this afternoon's presentation is on sexuality." And I watched this young guy not far from me said, "Oh boy, the sex talk. I've been waiting for this one." And I thought to myself, as I listened to his chuckle on his face, I thought to myself, wow, isn't it something that we that relegate sexuality to nothing more than just the act of intimacy? And so what I did, and I didn't do it with them, but I do with every couple that comes to see me, when I share with them and talk to them about that, I try to define sexuality. Sexuality is just not an act of intimacy. Sexuality is everything that makes me who I am. My sexuality is an expression of my person. So if I look at my person and say, what constitutes me as a person? Do I talk? Do I dress? Do I act? Do I live? Sexuality is everything that makes me who I am. And it's not just simply an act of intimacy that a man and woman share in the privacy of their own bedroom. Sexuality is everything that makes me who I am. When God created the human person and brought us into existence, He gave us all the seed of sexuality. And it is something in our life that we are meant to grow and to develop and to perfect. And so for a person who lives a life of integrity, a person who lives in the right moral order and doesn't abuse their own physical sexuality through acts of selfishness or any of that other pornography nonsense, a person that lives an uprighteous life, a person whose life is reflected in the reputation is reflected in the way they are, the way they live, the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they socialize, the way they express their temperament in terms of their health, their diet, their exercise, their driving habits, their lack of anger, their patience. For people who live virtuous lives, their sexuality is a reflection of God. And so I share this with you today because I share that with you, with the couples that sit here before me. But it all came out from that presentation a couple of years ago when this guy said, "Oh, the sex talk," and I go like this: "Yeah, it is a sex talk. Sex talk is about me, who I am, how I live, how others see me because of how I project myself." So may God's grace help you and I as we make our way to eternity, be a living expression of the presence of God in everything we say, do, the way we live, and how we act. And if we do that, our sexuality will be a fulfillment of God's plan. Have a good day, people. We'll look for you tomorrow.